and shoot a music video in a place that he knew he should not have been. And in the subsequent days, we saw homicides and ultimately the deaths of 2 children as a result of his cowardly actions. And you know who you are. And I tell you that this team will work relentlessly to hold you and the persons that you are affiliated with responsible for those actions.
4 pockets full is dead, literally. But I got 4 pockets full from my roommate in jail, right? I used to make him rap for me. Then one time he was like, 4 pockets full. You know, I'm like, what the hell that come? I'm like, what that is? He like, yeah, it's just something I be saying, like 4 pockets full. But like, that's how I even became a rapper. Like, I've been running around 4 pockets full for real.
Yeah.
Like, I always had 20 bands on me, 5 racks in each pocket. Like, the dude who I got it from, he got out of prison and got killed. I was waiting on him to get out of prison the whole time. Cause I was saying shit like, well, I'm gonna have the whole world saying it 4 pockets full. That's our way of life, just like KB fuck with. Ain't no gang, ain't no none of that shit.
Yeah.
It's just the way of life, you know what I'm saying? But it's crazy cause I'm waiting on him to get out. I got something major for him. You know what I'm saying? Oh, as soon as he get out, he get killed.
Damn.
So then already, that's what my 4PF was.
One night, one club, one injured NFL player. And suddenly, one of the biggest names in hip-hop is trending for all the wrong reasons. When news broke that Lil Baby was reportedly present during a Super Bowl weekend shooting that left Kion White injured, the internet didn't wait for details. It jumped straight to conclusions. Rico rumors, federal whispers. This is the end. That's how fast the narrative moved. But here's the real question. Is this actually the moment that changes everything? Or is it another case of headlines moving faster than facts? Because if you've been paying attention, you know this didn't start in San Francisco. There's Atlanta history. There's 4PF chatter. There are leaked phone calls involving Young Thug that added fuel to the fire. And now, with the NFL involved, the pressure feels different. This isn't just gossip. This is reputation, money, and possibly freedom on the line. So let's slow it down and break this all the way down. What's confirmed, what's speculation, and what this could actually mean going forward. Super Bowl weekend in San Francisco was supposed to be celebration mode. Celebrities everywhere, private parties stacked on top of each other, athletes hosting VIP events. The city was buzzing. That's where this story begins. According to early reports, a late-night gathering at a Mission District lounge turned chaotic when gunshots were heard inside the venue. Within minutes, flashing lights filled the street and emergency responders rushed in. The injured person? Kion White, a professional football player under contract and worth millions in team investment. He reportedly suffered a gunshot wound to the ankle. Now, thankfully, the injury was not life-threatening, but here's where it gets complicated. Multiple witnesses claimed that Lil Baby was present at the venue that night. Some reports mentioned an argument involving entourages before the shots rang out. Surveillance footage was reportedly collected. Shell casings were recovered. What hasn't happened? No public announcement naming a confirmed shooter. No official charge tying Lil Baby directly to firing a weapon. No federal indictment at the time of reporting. Yet his name exploded across social media within hours. And that's the power of proximity. When you're a chart-topping artist and your name appears near an incident involving an NFL player, headlines multiply fast. But that wasn't the only reason this story escalated. Because for some people, this wasn't just about one night. It was about what they believe has been building for years. The moment reports said Lil Baby was at the venue where Kion White was injured, timelines exploded. People didn't wait for ballistics reports or official statements. They filled in the blanks themselves. Some posts claimed his entourage tried to enter a private section. Others described a heated exchange before shots were heard. A few went even further, declaring federal charges were coming soon. But here's the key detail. Being present at a location is not the same as being charged with a crime. No official document at the time of reporting named Lil Baby as the shooter. Law enforcement did confirm an investigation. Surveillance footage was collected. Witnesses were interviewed. That's standard procedure in any high-profile shooting. Still, the narrative grew fast. Why? Because this isn't the first time his name has been surrounded by controversy, past scrutiny in Atlanta, public comments from local police, rumors about 4PF. All of that created a backdrop. So, when this happened, people didn't see it as isolated. They saw it as confirmation of a larger story, and that's how momentum works online. One incident connects to old headlines. Old headlines connect to speculation. Speculation turns into prediction, but prediction isn't proof. And the difference between those two words might determine everything that happens next. The second the shooting made headlines, one word started trending: Rico. If you've been watching hip-hop over the last few years, you already know why. Federal Rico cases have been used against rap crews before. So now, whenever a rapper's name gets linked to violence, all people jump straight to that conclusion. But let's slow this down. RICO stands for the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act. It was originally designed to take down organized crime networks. To use it, prosecutors have to prove an ongoing criminal enterprise, a structured organization, and a pattern of coordinated illegal activity over time. Not just one nightclub argument, not just one shooting, a pattern. At the time of reporting, there has been no public federal indictment charging Lil Baby under RICO related to this incident. That's important. Rumors are loud, but court documents are louder. So why does the speculation feel so intense? Because of past scrutiny surrounding 4PF, his label, and crew. In previous years, Atlanta authorities publicly criticized certain rap-related incidents, including a controversial music video shoot that allegedly escalated tensions in rival areas. That history made some observers believe investigators have been watching closely. But being watched and being charged are two very different things. Investigations take time. Federal cases take even longer. Wiretaps, financial audits, witness testimony, those don't appear overnight. Right now, what exists publicly is an active local investigation into a shooting that injured an NFL player. What doesn't exist publicly is a confirmed federal RICO case tied to this event. And that distinction matters more than the headlines suggest. But Atlanta's shadow still lingers in this conversation. And that's where the story really deepens. Even though the shooting happened in San Francisco, the conversation keeps circling back to Atlanta. Why? Not because Lil Baby built his career out of Atlanta's rap scene. And that city has been under a microscope in recent years when it comes to gang investigations tied to music. Over the past few years, local prosecutors in Fulton County have taken aggressive legal action against alleged street organizations connected to rap crews. That created a new atmosphere. Suddenly, lyrics, affiliations, and even music video locations started being discussed in legal settings. That doesn't mean every rapper from Atlanta is automatically part of a criminal case, but it does mean the environment changed. Back in 2022 and 2023, police publicly criticized certain music video shoots that they claimed escalated tensions between rival groups. One particular incident led to tragic violence involving teenagers. And officials openly blamed adult influences for fueling conflict through public displays. Those comments stuck. So now, when Lil Baby's name appears in another violent headline, critics immediately connect dots. Even if those dots aren't legally connected, here's the key difference. Public criticism is not the same as criminal conviction. Investigators can look into something without filing charges. Law enforcement can monitor activity without announcing an indictment. And until formal charges appear in court documents, speculation remains speculation. Still, perception shapes narratives. And the narrative forming right now suggests that any high-profile incident connected to Baby will automatically trigger deeper scrutiny. But scrutiny alone doesn't equal guilt. And that's where the legal reality becomes more complicated than the internet wants it to be, because proving something in federal court is very different from debating it online. And that's what makes the next phase of this situation so critical. The word RICO gets thrown around online like it's a guaranteed life sentence. But what does it really mean? RICO stands for the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act. It was created in 1970 to dismantle organized crime groups like the Mafia. Instead of charging one person for one crime, prosecutors can charge an entire alleged organization if they believe it operated as a coordinated criminal enterprise. That's a powerful tool. Under RICO, someone doesn't have to personally pull a trigger to face serious charges. Prosecutors only need to argue that the person was part of an organization that committed crimes to further its goals. But here's what people don't always understand. RICO cases are complex and take years to build. Federal prosecutors don't rush them. They gather financial records, surveillance, communications, and testimony. And even then, they must prove a pattern of criminal activity, not just one isolated incident. That's why online predictions about immediate federal indictments should be taken cautiously. If authorities were building a RICO case tied to Lil Baby's crew, the San Francisco shooting could become one piece of a larger puzzle, especially if investigators believe it connects to interstate activity. But right now, no federal indictment has been announced. And until that happens, talk of life sentences remains speculation. Still, one fact is undeniable. When your name is repeatedly mentioned in violent headlines, federal attention becomes more likely, and attention is often the first step before something much bigger unfolds. Whether that unfolds here is what everyone is waiting to see. Here's where this situation shifts from club incident to something much bigger. The injured man isn't just Keon White is an active NFL player. That matters. The NFL isn't just a sports league. It's a multi-billion-dollar machine with its own security teams, legal departments, and influence. When one of their players gets hurt in a shooting, it becomes more than a local police matter. The league pays attention, the team pays attention, sponsors pay attention, and that brings pressure. A pressure on investigators to move carefully, pressure on city officials to show control, pressure on anyone connected to the scene. If White's injury had been career-ending, the financial stakes would skyrocket. Contracts, bonuses, endorsement deals, all tied to physical performance. Even if he recovers fully, the fact that an NFL player was shot during Super Bowl weekend in San Francisco adds a national spotlight. Spotlight changes tone. Instead of a small local headline, the story travels to ESPN panels, sports radio, and national outlets. That amplifies scrutiny on everyone involved, including Lil Baby. And when corporations are watching, reputations move fast. This doesn't mean charges are guaranteed. It means the margin for error is gone. Public perception tightens. Business partners start evaluating risk. Now sponsors quietly ask questions. Because in entertainment and sports, image is currency. And once your name is tied to violence involving a professional athlete, even indirectly, the consequences ripple far beyond one night. That ripple effect may end up being just as powerful as any courtroom outcome. One of the strangest parts of this story isn't what's been said, it's what hasn't. No immediate arrests, no dramatic press conference naming suspects, no public indictment, just investigation updates and careful wording. That kind of silence does two things at once. It fuels speculation and it signals patience. When authorities stay quiet after a high-profile incident involving a celebrity and a professional athlete, it usually means they're reviewing footage, statements, ballistics, phone data, building clarity before making moves. It's especially if multiple people were present and conflicting witness accounts exist. At the same time, social media doesn't understand patience. Every day without an arrest becomes they're building a federal case. Every vague report becomes he's about to get indicted. And that's how narratives snowball. Meanwhile, Lil Baby has not been formally charged in connection with the shooting of Keon White. That's important, because in legal reality, absence of charges matters. But in public, absence of clarity feels suspicious. Silence creates space, and space gets filled with theories. Some insiders argue that if investigators believed he directly fired a weapon, an arrest would have happened quickly. Others believe law enforcement could be exploring conspiracy angles instead of focusing on a single shooter. Why both possibilities exist has been confirmed. So we're in that uncomfortable middle ground. No formal accusation, no official exoneration, just a name hovering in headlines. And sometimes that in-between stage is the most dangerous place for a career to sit. It's not just the shooting, it's the pattern. For years, critics have argued that Lil Baby walks a thin line between mainstream success and street credibility. He built his image on authenticity, real background, real connections, real stories. That authenticity is part of why fans respect him. But authenticity comes with risk. In Atlanta, his name has surfaced in conversations about crew activity and violence. No courtroom conviction tied him directly to those claims. But public officials have referenced his circle when discussing gang investigations. And that context matters now, because when a new incident happens, people don't treat it as isolated. They connect dots. Was this just a club argument that escalated, or was it part of a bigger culture of tension around him? That's the question driving discussion. Under federal law, especially in Rico-style investigations, prosecutors look for patterns. Not one night, not one argument, a pattern of behavior that suggests coordinated activity, financial links, communication trails, repeated associations. Again, no indictment has been announced. But if investigators are reviewing prior incidents in Atlanta alongside what happened in San Francisco, they're looking for consistency. Similar names, similar dynamics, similar escalation, and patterns are powerful in court. They shape how juries interpret events. They shape how prosecutors frame narratives. They shape whether an incident feels random or intentional. Right now, the public is debating the pattern, and depending on how that debate evolves, it could either fade away quietly or become the foundation for something much larger. Even before a courtroom decides anything, the business world reacts first, and that's where things get complicated for Lil Baby. Music isn't just art, it's contracts, touring insurance, brand deals, streaming relationships, festival bookings. Every one of those depends on risk assessment. When an artist's name gets tied to a shooting involving Keon White, executives start asking quiet questions. Is he insurable for tours? Will venues feel safe booking him? Could sponsors pull back? Even if no charges are filed, perception alone can affect opportunities. You corporate partners don't wait for verdicts. They evaluate headlines. They calculate liability. If an NFL player was injured at an event where your name is circulating, that becomes a risk variable. At the same time, fan loyalty often moves differently than corporate loyalty. Some supporters double down, viewing scrutiny as targeting. Others step back, unsure what's true. That tension creates uncertainty. Uncertainty impacts revenue, tour schedules can pause, collaborations can slow, public appearances get more controlled. PR teams tighten messaging. Lawyers advise silence. It's not always about guilt. Sometimes it's about optics. And right now, optics are fragile. Whether this turns into a long-term setback or a short-term storm depends on what investigators ultimately confirm. But one thing is clear. In the entertainment industry, controversy doesn't wait for convictions. It starts affecting business the moment headlines hit. There's the legal reality, and then there's the reputation reality. Legally, as of now, Lil Baby has not been formally charged in connection to the shooting of Keon White. That matters. In court, facts decide outcomes. Evidence decides outcomes. Not tweets, not YouTube breakdowns, not viral threads, but reputation works differently. Reputation is shaped by repetition. When your name appears next to words like federal investigation, Rico, or shooting often enough, it starts to stick, even without a conviction, and that's the crossroads. If investigators clear his involvement, this becomes another headline cycle that fades over time. Artists have survived worse storms before. Public memory can be short when music stays strong and no charges land. But if evidence emerges tying his crew directly to organized violence, especially across state lines, that narrative shifts fast. Not just controversial rapper, but alleged criminal enterprise. That language carries weight. This moment isn't just about one night in San Francisco, it's about which version of the story solidifies first. A misunderstanding amplified by social media, or the first domino in a larger federal case. Right now, both possibilities exist, and until official action happens, the future hangs in that space between accusation and proof. That space can define careers, or destroy them. This is the point where everything either cools down or catches fire. One night, one shooting, one name tied to headlines nationwide. For Lil Baby, this isn't just about legal exposure, it's about identity, about whether years of success outweigh years of scrutiny, about whether this becomes a passing storm or the start of something permanent. The injury to Keon White turned what could have been a local incident into a national spotlight. The NFL, federal speculation, Rico talk, corporate pressure, every layer adds weight. But here's the truth. Right now, speculation is louder than facts. No federal indictment has been announced. No conviction has been handed down. Just investigation, silence, and anticipation. And anticipation is dangerous, because in moments like this, careers don't just depend on courts. They depend on momentum, on perception, on what story solidifies first. If this ends quietly, it becomes a lesson about proximity and headlines. If it escalates legally, it becomes a defining chapter in hip-hop history. This is the moment of truth, not just for a case, but for a legacy. Before we close this out, take a second and really think about what we just unpacked. This isn't just another viral headline. This isn't just social media gossip that fades in 48 hours. When a name as big as Lil Baby gets connected to a situation involving an NFL player like Keon White, the stakes instantly multiply. Right now, we're sitting in that gray area. No confirmed federal indictment, no final legal outcome, just investigations, headlines, speculation, and pressure building behind the scenes. And sometimes, that pressure is what changes everything. If this turns out to be nothing more than proximity and misunderstanding, Or then, this moment becomes a reminder of how fast narratives spin out of control in the digital age. But if investigators connect deeper dots, if larger charges emerge, then we might be witnessing a turning point in one of the biggest rap careers of this generation. That's why this story matters. It's not just about one night. It's about reputation, business, influence, legacy. It's about how thin the line is between superstardom and scrutiny. One wrong environment, one bad decision, one circle you didn't cut off in time. That's all it takes sometimes. And here's the real question. Can success truly outrun your past, or does it eventually catch up? We're going to keep tracking every official update, every confirmed document, every statement that moves this forward. No guessing, no wild theories, just facts as they unfold. So, if you want real breakdowns without the noise, make sure you hit subscribe right now. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next update. Because if something drops, whether it's charges, a statement, or a major twist, you're going to want to understand exactly what it means. And I want to hear from you. Do you think this is just another overblown headline? Or do you think something bigger is brewing behind the scenes? If you've been following this story closely, now's the time to stay locked in. Things can shift fast, and the next update could change everything. Make sure you hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any official developments. We'll keep breaking it down clearly and calmly as facts come out. Drop your thoughts in the comments and tell me what you think really happens next. Is this just hype? You may come scenes pagka-orstan sa madibianan or the start of something serious? Let's talk about it.